Chapter 1656. The End of Reincarnation. It's the power of the curse. I feel my body is getting weak, and my head is heavy. Nyatong covered his head with one hand, staggering a little, and almost couldn't stand. Is this the power of the law of cause and effect? Nyatong's face turned even paler, and he barely adapted to the heavy burden of the curse on him. Although this attack did not take their lives, it was obviously an extremely powerful debuff that greatly affected their status and combat capabilities. If it's only this level, it's okay. Kill her. We must fight quickly. Otherwise, their reinforcements may arrive at any time, Nyatong said in a deep voice. Especially the guy in the small town by the sea, he must not appear on this battlefield. Now, what they fear most is not the god of death of love, nor Shang Dawen in Weio Valley. It's Chaos Zhang Yi, who killed many of their comrades in Tianhai City. A space-based alien, he can travel thousands of miles in an instant. If Zhang Yi really comes to rescue, he will arrive earlier than anyone else. At that time, it will be troublesome for the two of them to kill Guan Longyue again. After all, this was a decapitation operation, and the attack was caught off guard. The longer the delay, the greater the possibility of failure. Nyatong said nothing, and his hands directly condensed an energy cannon. The huge energy cannon was like a bright moon, illuminating the entire central area of Xingjing City, and then rolled forward. Rumble. His energy cannon was like a giant wheel, quickly rolling over the earth and heading straight for the Earth Temple. Since the opponent is a person with abilities such as a Curse Master, her melee ability must be relatively weak. There is no need to get close, just snipe her from a distance. The Shadow also summoned the Shadow Giant Army again, and wanted to once again deal a fatal blow to Guan Longyue, who had lost the protection of the telekinetic barrier. Guan Longyue still stood in the center of the Earth Temple with a blank expression. Her hands fell with her wide sleeves, like the Lord of Reincarnation guarding the netherworld. Hell Road, Black Sunday. She whispered this sentence. The next moment, outside the Earth Temple, in the area covering the sky and the earth suddenly changed color. The land covered with snow and built of bluestone turned into an endless abyss, like the cycle of hell. From the cycle, a tall black figure slowly emerged. He was completely black, emitting thick green smoke, and his body was already broken at this time, like a burnt corpse. When he appeared, he immediately noticed the attack on the Earth Temple. The red eyes, which only had the killing instinct in the confusion, suddenly burst out with a terrifying light. He opened his mouth and let out a roar that was not like a human. Then, the body like black charcoal suddenly burst out with red-hot streams like magma. The flames soared into the sky, and the terrifying red flame whirlwind spiraled into the sky, turning into a red tornado, and the storm blocked the surroundings of the Earth Temple. And the attack of the Destroyer Hall was directly rushed by the Black Sun, and was directly blocked by the body that turned into red. What is this thing? Destroyer Hall looked at the charred thing and couldn't help but frown. His eyes were extremely solemn, because he felt the combat power of Ypsilon level in the opponent. However, it was a little strange and hard to explain. But when did Xingjing hide such a master? And 3 years after the end of the world, no news was leaked? Watch me. At this time, the Shadow was ready to activate its ability. Hundreds of Shadow Giants opened their huge mouths, and red beams of supernatural power gushed out and shot towards the Earth Temple. In the Earth Temple, the black-clothed girl whispered softly, "Beast Road, Big Eaters." Under her feet, in the sticky and dark shadow, ripples suddenly appeared. The ripples became larger and larger, even covering the entire Earth Temple. The ripples spread to the surroundings, like a spiral of death. After a moment, a heart-pounding white suddenly emerged from the black abyss. Swish dash. An extremely huge white snake suddenly rushed out from the shadows, roaring and surrounding Guan Longyue, looking forward fiercely. It has a pair of transparent horns on its head, and its body is at least 200 meters long. Even if it curls up, it almost fills up the entire Earth Temple. The attack of the Shadow, this time, directly shattered the entire Earth Temple when the telekinetic barrier disappeared. However, after the horrific explosion, the expected tragedy did not happen at all. The huge white snake curled up into a complete sphere, firmly guarding Guanlongyue's body in it. This time, Miatong and Yueying were finally dumbfounded. They looked at each other, and only then did they feel that the legendary Xinjiang district's background was really not so easy to kill. This seems to be a special summoning ability. Miatong gave his own analysis. He looked at He Ri and Deku. They did exude powerful power, but after making a defense, they did not take the next step of attacking posture, but stayed around the Earth Temple. Moreover, they will not leave the vicinity of Ho Tuesday. Is this a kind of earthbound spirit? The shadow stretched out his long tongue and licked his dry lips. But so what? Now that we are here, if we go back without doing something, we will become a laughingstock. They still know too little about Ho Tu. Not to mention them, the entire Huashu country and even research institutions in countries around the world all know that Ho Tu is very strong. They all know that Ho Tu has the ability to snipe at a super long distance, which is a curse-like ability. As long as she locks on you, you will fall into a dead end. However, when the legend becomes just a legend, people's awe of it will quickly fade. It seems that as long as Ho Tu does not meet the must-kill conditions of Hell Guillotine, then this existence standing at the top of the alien world has nothing to fear. But is it really so? Everyone knows how important intelligence is to aliens. Then Xinjiang district naturally understands this truth. People only know Hell Guillotine, but never know the true ability of Ho Tu. Ho Tu, the master who shapes reincarnation. Guanlongyue's real ability is called 6 Paths of Reincarnation, and Hell Guillotine is only one of her 6 abilities. Ho Tu stood in the Earth Temple. She did not move at all from beginning to end. Deku was guarding her body tightly. She did not need to move, but almost everyone's consensus was not wrong. Her close combat ability was very weak, very weak. Even an ordinary well-trained warrior could strangle her to death after getting close to her. But who could get close to her? Chapter 1650, 7 Hell. Guanlongyue neutralized all the joint attacks of Yueying and Miatong. She just stood there quietly, with the black sun in front of her looking ferocious, guarding her like a ghost. The huge body of the white Deku was coiled, looking at the enemy in the distance with cold eyes. The ability of Shura Road and Animal Road is to summon evil spirits. He Ri was the Ypsilon who once caused chaos in Xinjiang. After being killed by Guanlongyue, he was collected in the reincarnation. And Deku was the Beast King who slaughtered dozens of human cities in the north of Xinjiang. Those who were wiped out entered the 6 reincarnations and were driven by Guanlongyue. This is why Shangdawen was able to leave with peace of mind. Don't underestimate Xinjiang's number 1 master. Yueying and Miatong only felt how difficult this decapitation operation was at this time. But now, they have no other choice. But things are not too bad. At least Shangdawen can't get back in a short time. Kill those 2 summons first, said Yueying. It's not a difficult task, Miatong said calmly. Although the appearance of He Ri and Deku made the 2 feel a little surprised, they calmed down and analyzed the situation at the scene in the first place. He Ri and Deku consumed Guanlongyue's own strength, and at the same time, they controlled 2 summoned spirits, and the energy consumed was also extremely huge. Both of them were black chariot-level aliens. They only needed to keep fighting with Guanlongyue, and sooner or later they would see her flaws. Her weak body doesn't seem to be good at close combat, Ghost said. According to the principle of conservation of power, her abilities are mainly reflected in curse and summoning, so she must not have strong close combat ability. Long-range attack methods are temporarily ineffective, so try to get close to attack. Kill her 2 summons first, and then kill the main body, Ghost said. The 2 looked at each other and immediately formulated a battle plan. The 2 ran towards the Earth Temple like lightning. The target of the Destroyer Hall was the Black Sun. He jumped into the air, condensed a huge power in his hands, and quickly turned into a silver sphere, and then threw it at the Black Sun. Like the falling moon, he was aiming at Guanlongyue. If the Black Sun dodged, it would inevitably cause Guanlongyue to be attacked. So the black sun did not dodge at all. Ha! He opened his mouth and let out a strange cry. His body, which had turned red, like a magma man, burst into a terrifying red light. Who? The red flames soared into the sky like blood and collided fiercely with the silver moon. The destroyer hull had already arrived in the air and pushed the silver moon down with both hands. After all, the summoned black sun was just a dead spirit. When fighting with a real black chariot-level strongman, it could not show the combat intelligence and strength of the survival period. What's more, the destroyer hull itself has the combat power of the silver armor level. This time, the silver moon crushed the torrent of flames and directly pressed the body of the black sun into the ground under the Earth Temple Square. Boom! The earth shattered, and dazzling light lit up in the square. A huge pit was smashed out by the destroyer hull. The body of Hei Ri had disappeared, and only a human-shaped depression remained on the ground. Deku guarded Guanlonghua tightly and threatened the attacking enemy. The shadow had come not far away. He raised his palm, and the shadow behind him rose like a wave. It was like a big show had begun. The black wave that covered the sky and the sun completely surrounded the entire Earth Temple. In an instant, the tide collapsed and fell towards Deku. Hiss! Deku's body turned quickly, guarding Guanlonghua tightly in it, and then the transparent double horns on his head sprayed out lightning-like energy to resist the invasion of darkness. While it was doing all this, Guanlonghua was not idle. She looked at the two people who had approached her and slowly opened her arms expressionlessly, as if she was welcoming her people to the afterlife in reincarnation. How dare you enter my reincarnation? Return to dust. Her voice was as cold as if it came from the netherworld. The next moment, with her feet as the center and the entire Earth Temple, including the surrounding circular square, as the scope, the scene of heaven and earth changed in an instant. There was no light, no moon, and no wind. It was dark everywhere, but suddenly a huge fire lit up in the distance, and the wailing of evil spirits rang in their ears. Miatong and Yuing's eyes fixed. They looked around and suddenly found that the place where they were had turned into an endless hell. There were mountains of corpses and blood, and the Styx was flowing under their feet. Naked yakshas holding steel forks were roasting the dead on the nether fire, and corpses and internal organs were flowing in the yellow spring. Is this an illusion? Before the two finished speaking, they suddenly felt their legs tighten. They lowered their heads and saw an extremely terrifying scene. Countless evil spirits crawled out of the yellow spring, burning with karma fire, wailing and crawling on them. And in the endless abyss of Huangquan, it is full of these evils the ghosts' faces, as if they had seen a life-saving straw, desperately swam to the surface of the water, and then dragged the two into the underworld to become their substitutes. The two, who had already been cursed and attacked by the black and white impermanence, fell into the boundless karma of the 6 reincarnations. They felt as if their bodies were heavy and could not move for a while. Get out of here! Yuing kicked hard, and the dead souls under his feet were instantly kicked to pieces by him. With a wail, they turned into ashes in the underworld. But soon, more dead souls climbed up his thighs and crawled towards his upper body. They opened their mouths wide, and in their mouths were the tormented wails in the reincarnation. This wailing almost made Yuing and Miatong's heads explode. Yuing's face changed drastically and immediately condensed to black shadow, which turned into a sky-high blade, spiraling to wipe out all the evil ghosts hugging his body. Miatong also tried his best to release energy before struggling out. But at this time, the world they were in had completely changed. Without the Earth Temple, there was only the endless yellow spring. They had no place to stay, and under their feet were millions of dead souls waiting for substitutes. Guanlonghua stood on the temple in the center of Yellow Spring, looking down at them from a high position. Miatong growled, "The only way to break this damn ability is to kill her now." "What are we waiting for? Let's go." In the right palm of the shadow condensed into a huge scimitar. The two knew that they could not delay any longer, otherwise they would never know what strange abilities Guanlonghua would use. Chapter 1658 Finale. Yuying and Nyatong stared at Guan Longhua not far away, intending to attack directly and rush over to kill him. But at this moment, the darkness in the sky above their heads was suddenly dispelled, and a ray of light shone in. The two of them subconsciously raised their heads and looked at the sky, only to see a huge ring suddenly appear in the sky, as if something had pierced through the dark clouds in the sky. When they noticed it, two blazing white beams instantly fell from the sky and headed straight for them. Oh no! The two realized what happened at this time. The Shengjing district had been hiding and had not used space-based weapons until this moment. The two did know that there was such a powerful weapon in the Shengjing district before, and they were also careful. But the battle with Guan Longhua really consumed a lot of their energy, causing them to focus all their attention on dealing with Guan Longhua, and they also forgot that there was such a weapon with extremely strong lethality. Once the space-based weapons fired from space to the Earth lock on the target, they will form an unimaginable speed of attack. High-energy particle cannons descended from the universe, so fast that they arrived the moment they noticed it. Boom! The terrifying white light enveloped the surrounding space. The attack range was not large, but it was extremely precise, covering the figures of the two people. Guan Longhua watched all this quietly. Although she had not moved a bit from beginning to end, her communication with Meng Yuanjun had never been interrupted. Including such an opportunity, she specially created it under the suggestion of Meng Yuanjun. What Yuying and Nyatong said was right. Guan Longhua's ability had great flaws. Her 6 reincarnations could only create a domain with herself as the center. Once the domain was broken, her body was pitifully fragile. But this is Shengjing City. Guan Longhua can get all the support of the entire Shengjing region in this place. She is terribly strong. The space-based weapons that fell from the sky instantly submerged 2 black chariot-level Wulwan Empire scouts. After the attack, the two stood in the Dark 6 reincarnation domain in an extremely embarrassed manner. They were breathing heavily, and their human skin was completely broken, revealing their hideous lizard bodies. Yuying covered one of his arms, which had been completely disabled. Green blood slowly dripped from his fingertips onto the ground. He, is this the most powerful weapon of mankind now? Sure enough, it's really interesting. It can actually hurt me. But it's just this level. It can't kill us. Guan Longhua looked at him quietly, but suddenly a bright smile appeared at the corner of her mouth. It was like a beautiful flower suddenly blooming on an iceberg that has not melted for thousands of years, just like a stream melting frozen water in March, beautiful and delicate. It doesn't matter, it's over. Yuying and Nyatong didn't know what Guan Longhua meant by this. They were all seriously injured, and blood dripped from their bodies and sank into the yellow spring under their feet. Guan Longhua slowly raised her white and tender right hand towards them. Enter the cycle of reincarnation. Heavenly way, heavenly punishment, guillotine of hell. As the blood flowed into the underworld, the third element of the heavenly way, obtaining the body, was completed. The ability of the heavenly way will show different levels of curse-killing ability according to the degree of information collection. The first level, observe its shape. The second level, know its name. The third level, obtain its body. As long as any one of the conditions is met, the target can be attacked regardless of distance. Among them, know its name is the weakest, observe its shape is the second, and obtain its body is the strongest. The more information fragments obtained, the greater the power of the heavenly way's killing. The condition for achieving a sure kill is to complete any one of the other 2 principles in addition to obtaining the body. Now, the 2 sure kill rules have been completed. Guan Longhua raised his hand, and the black and white impermanents, who had been standing behind Yuying and Nyatong and exerting curse power on them, suddenly showed an extremely creepy smile at the corner of his mouth. A monstrous death aura emerged from their bodies, and the chains in their hands clattered. Yuying and Nyatong felt that their bodies were completely unable to move at this moment. What is this? Yuying lowered his head and saw that his body was densely wrapped with dark chains. Nyatong next to him was in the same situation. The two tried desperately to struggle, but at this time their strength seemed to be drained away, and they could not release any at all. Black and white impermanence was right behind them. Even the huge lizard man was as small as a child in front of the two ghosts. Black and white impermanence picked them up like chickens. A thick fog emerged behind them, and a huge hell guillotine appeared from the fog and stood above the Earth Temple. Yuying and Mietong saw the terrifying hell guillotine. They felt the breath of death and immediately roared madly. No, I can't die here. How can I be killed by a mere human? My elaborate plan cannot fail like this. The struggle and roar of the two people were meaningless. The black and white impermanence picked them up. Then he pressed directly on the blade of the guillotine. Guanlongwa looked at them coldly. This is the price you must pay for your contempt for life and killing countless lives in Shengjing. Boom! The huge guillotine fell directly, and the eyes of the two were full of fear. There was no longer any arrogance before, but everything was too late. In front of the rules, everything will be reduced to nothing. The two black chariot-level aliens were directly beheaded under this huge gate knife. Their bodies fell in a pool of blood. Guanlongwa looked at them quietly, and then suddenly recited a murmured spell. 6 paths, reincarnation. Azura enters my way. It is difficult to escape for 10,000 lifetimes. Use the curse to turn the soul general, and the remaining body will return to my life. The bloody body fell under the guillotine of hell, and the yellow spring surged violently, and the waves washed over the guillotine, dragging the bodies of the two people into the endless abyss. After a moment, the scene of the 6 reincarnations disappeared. The Earth Temple returned to the cold and lonely world of the Northern Kingdom. However, at this time, only the area where Guanlongwa stood remained in the Earth Temple. The rest of the place was destroyed. The entire Shengjing city was full of corpses. Guanlongwa looked up at the sky and slowly closed her eyes. She felt the grief of the death of living beings. The end of this world has really come. She knew that everything was not over yet. When the Wulwan Empire invaded, it was the real beginning of the end of mankind. Chapter 1659. National Crisis. The war in Shengjing City is finally over. Everyone who was watching all this in the command center finally felt relieved. They collapsed on the chairs with a sense of relief. Everyone was sweating profusely, as if they had just had a sauna. They knew very well how dangerous the battle just now was. Once Ho Tu was defeated, then the entire Shengjing city, everyone would most likely be killed. Meng Yuanjun lay on the chair, looking up at the sky with a dazed look. He recalled Qin Qigong, who had exiled himself to Ningqing, and couldn't help but reveal a bitter smile at the corner of his mouth. Is this what you call the trouble of the Supreme Commander of the Xinjiang region? Sure enough, this position is not easy to sit in. All the time, you have to worry about the safety of the entire Shengjing city and even the Huashu kingdom, which is really stressful. The officials under him came over and asked Meng Yuanjun for instructions. General Meng, we successfully resisted the foreign enemies. Next, should we release the news to other regions and ask them to strengthen their vigilance? In addition, should we re-prepare Shengjing city? Meng Yuanjun raised his head, thought for a while, and said, such a big thing happened here, and it is indeed necessary to notify everyone. But now I have to go there in person to pay respect to our guardian goddess. He stood up, took the coat from the secretary and put it on, and walked out while giving orders. In half an hour, let all the senior officials of the 6 regions gather and hold a meeting. Now we can confirm that the mysterious race under the Fog Valley will soon launch another attack. Not long after, Shang Dawen returned to Shengjing City with the seriously injured and dying Zhongyu. It was completely lucky that Zhongyu was not killed, because the other party could not be sure that after killing Zhongyu, there would be no special people in Shengjing City who would find out, resulting in the failure of successfully luring the tiger away from the mountain. In the eyes of Yuying and Mietong, a white chariot-level alien with only 17,500 points could not pose any threat. As soon as Shang Dawen came back, he immediately handed Zhongyu over to the medical team, and then he went to find Guanlongyue without stopping. After seeing Guanlongyue was safe and sound, he breathed a sigh of relief. As we expected, those guys are very cunning. At this point, he smiled with relief. But fortunately you are here, Guan Longyue said. Don't be too happy too early. I can feel that the real war will come soon. That's right, the trouble is still to come. Meng Yuanjuan's voice came from the side. Shang Daowen nodded slightly to him. General Meng, what are the casualties in the city? Meng Yuanjun spread his hands helplessly. Is there any need to say that? The other side has dispatched 2 black chariot-level aliens, so naturally we suffered heavy casualties. He said an extremely cruel reality in an extremely relaxed tone. Shang Daowen quietly clenched his fists, but in the end it turned into an imperceptible sigh. This is the war between civilizations, which is extremely cruel, and no one cares about the lives of the other group. Meng Yuanjun said to the 2 of them, since everyone is here, come with me to attend the special meeting of Huaxiu State. The meeting was ready and they were just waiting for Shang Daowen to arrive, and then they would immediately connect to other regions. When Zhang Yi received the news, the war was over. Because from beginning to end, Shengjing District did not ask for help from other regions, but only issued an early warning signal. After all, as the first region of Huaxiu State, if even they need to ask other regions for help, then the situation is really bad. After all, nowadays, each region itself is at risk of being attacked, and it is impossible to ask them to send top people to come from afar to support. The attack on Shengjing District surprised Zhang Yi. He appeared at the meeting, frowning slightly, and listened to Meng Yuanjuan's report very seriously. Everyone, Meng Yuanjun looked at the representatives of each region with a serious look. Just now, our Shengjing region was also attacked. The other side can be confirmed to be from Wugu, and 2 black chariot-level aliens attacked at the same time. This caused great damage to our Shengjing region. But please rest assured, as the pillar of Huaxiu country, we have perfectly solved this crisis and annihilated the invading enemies. When he said this, Meng Yuanjun deliberately raised his voice. Sure enough, after hearing that the Shengjing region annihilated 2 black chariot-level aliens, everyone's face changed. Li Changgong, the proud guy, also lowered his head and murmured, is this the foundation of the Shengjing region? You know, they just barely blocked the attack of the Wugu troops at the beginning. If it weren't for the last time, the other side retreated for special reasons. The final result would be hard to say. Xuanwu Meng Yingchuan pinched his chin and said, the strength of the Shengjing region is indeed trustworthy. The victory of this battle was a shot of adrenaline for the various regions of Huaxiu country. Let them understand that the mysterious underground civilization of Wugu is not invincible. Meng Yuanjun did not describe the specific process of the battle, but Zhang Yi was silently calculating in his heart. If the 3 Ypsilons in Shengjing District were surrounded and killed, there would indeed be a chance to kill 2 black chariot-level aliens. It's just a pity that I don't know the detailed ability of Shang Daowen yet, and even Guan Longyue seems to be covered by a veil, making it difficult for people to see through. Meng Yuanjuan's voice continued to come, deep into people's hearts. Sir, I want to remind you of this meeting. The real war will begin soon. The raid on Shengjing District is just a prelude to the coming of war. Therefore, all regions must strengthen their vigilance. And we need to put aside our selfishness and work together now. Otherwise, he raised his glasses and swept his eyes coldly over the people present. Perhaps the entire Huaxiu kingdom will perish in this unprecedented war. This sentence shocked everyone's heart. Destruction of the country and the race? Has the situation reached this point? Yes, it has indeed reached this point. Just think about it, and you will know what kind of terrible force they are facing. Li Guangxiao, the supreme commander of the East China Sea region, raised his hand directly at this time, and his tone was as hard as steel. The East China Sea region will fully cooperate with the command of the Shengjing region in the next action. Everyone was shocked by Li Guangxiao's words. Is this the supreme commander of a region who voluntarily gave up his command authority? Li Guangxiao has his own ideas. He said, if we want to win this battle, we must unite. Then we must have a brain. And we can't fight alone. So, I choose to believe in Shengjing District. Chapter 1660 Big Totoro has something to say. After hearing what Li Guangxiao said, Zhang Yi thought to himself, the top combat power of the East Sea region is now missing, and only Xuanwu is in charge. If there is another war next time, they're not sure that they can defend it by themselves, so now they choose to show their loyalty to Xingjing? Thinking of this, the corners of his mouth curled up slightly. Interesting. Although this time is indeed a huge crisis for Huaxi State, if it is handled well, it may be a major integration of forces. And the biggest winner may be the Xingjing region with the strongest power. Zhang Yi touched his nose. And himself. After hearing what Li Guangxiao said, Meng Yuanjun also said immediately, as long as everyone is willing to believe in me and believe in Xingjing region, we will do our best to protect every inch of Huaxi State. The heads of other regions heard the words, and the expressions on their faces were a little complicated. They are unwilling to give up the command power in their hands easily. But with a big enemy at hand, if they do not choose to cooperate with Xingjing region, how can they fight the enemy? At this time, Zhu Zheng quietly made a connection request to Zhang Yi. Zhang Yi raised his eyebrows and answered Zhu Zheng's call. Zhu Shuai, what do you think? Zhang Yi asked. Zhu Zheng lowered his voice and said, Zhang Yi, you are the foundation of Jiangnan district. Now we have to rely on you to fight against the enemy. So this time, whether to cooperate with Xingjing district or not, I want to listen to you. Zhang Yi sneered. Follow, why not? Zhu Zheng was stunned for a moment, as if he didn't expect Zhang Yi to be so easy to talk to. Zhang Yi said, Jiangnan district can cooperate with Xingjing's work, but I, Zhang Yi, do not belong to any force, and they can't command me. Even in the next war, I can cooperate with them. But after the war, no one can control me. The current cooperation is inevitable. Of course, Zhang Yi can also choose to give up Tianhai City and leave with others. With his ability, it is no problem to keep the people around him and himself. But if possible, he still hopes that Tianhai City, which he has worked hard to manage, can be preserved. Zhu Zheng immediately understood what Zhang Yi meant. Jiangnan district is the weakest of the 6 districts and has no strength. It is completely dependent on the existence of Zhang Yi that it can occupy a place in Huaxi country. If Zhang Yi cannot be commanded, then even if Xingjing wants to command Jiangnan in the future, there is no possibility. After Zhu Zheng figured it out, he laughed and said to others, we in Jiangnan will also spare no effort to cooperate with this preparation. Meng Yuanjun glanced at Zhu Zheng. Oh, then I really have to thank Commander Zhu Zheng for his support. But he turned his eyes to Zhang Yi and asked leisurely, I want to know what Lord Hunan thinks about this matter. Zhang Yi crossed his arms and smiled faintly. Of course, I am willing to fully cooperate with Xingjing in this battle. There is another sentence he didn't say. On the premise of ensuring my personal safety and other interests are not damaged. There is no need to say these words now, but if he really suffers losses at that time, Zhang Yi will turn his face without hesitation. It doesn't matter if you say more nice words. Meng Yuanjun heard the hidden meaning of Zhang Yi. You can cooperate in wartime, but it won't work in the future. Meng Yuanjun pushed his glasses, but he didn't expect to take advantage of this opportunity to easily gather the power of the entire Huaxiu kingdom. Representatives from other regions have not yet expressed whether they will hand over all command rights, but they have also stated their position that at least in the next war operation, they will fully cooperate with Xingjing region. That's good. I say it again, the situation is very critical this time. I hope you can understand that this is a major crisis that may lead to the fall of the region and even Huaxiu country. Therefore, in the battle, you must fully execute all the tasks assigned by the command center. Meng Yuanjun repeatedly reminded the people on the scene to prevent them from making incorrect choices for personal interests in the next battle, which will lead to the collapse of the overall battle situation. Of course, everyone nodded and agreed. After Zhang Yi went offline, he immediately told everyone in his family about this matter. It's nothing more than asking them to strengthen their vigilance, be ready to deal with the upcoming strong enemy at any time, and be ready to evacuate with Zhang Yi. Yang Xinxin's reaction was very calm, because according to her and Zhang Yi's plan, the worst result is that they can also use Zhang Yi's space ability to escape. However, whether they can win this battle next depends on the cooperation of all regions. Especially, what effect Guanlongyue in Shengjing District can play is the key. After this matter is over, we must start a new shelter plan. Zhang Yi supported his chin with both hands and said to everyone in the family very seriously, Wugu is just a beginning. The world will become more and more dangerous in the future. Tianhai City may not be safe. We must find a safer soil. Under the earth or above the sky. We must consider it. Lu Kuoran leaned on the sofa next to Zhang Yi, thought for a moment, and said, perhaps, when my ability reaches the level of Epsilon, these plans can be implemented. Lu Kuoran's ability, Divine Machine Control, can optimize the ability of her engineers and let her build powerful engineering equipment. If she goes one step further and reaches the level of Epsilon, her ability will be a qualitative leap. At that time, it may not be impossible to build a spaceship by herself. Zhang Yi glanced at Lu Karen and smiled. There will be a chance. The acquisition of the Source of God is full of chance. If it is not necessary, Zhang Yi will not easily enter the underground world to take risks. Before, he did get a Source of God provided by the pupil organization, but that thing had been taken by Zhang Yi to the sword in the tree. So, he can only wait for the next opportunity. Lu Karen is definitely the fourth Epsilon candidate in his team. Just as they were discussing how to deal with future matters, a rapid frog croaking suddenly sounded in the corner of the living room. Quack. The frog's croaking was loud, and you could hear his excitement and joy. Everyone couldn't help but look over and saw the frog dancing and jumping in front of Zhang Yi, with its two forelimbs supporting the edge of its fat and white belly. What's wrong, frogs? Zhang Yi asked curiously. Quack. Good news, Zhang Yi. The big Totoro has very important information to provide you. The frog raised a long finger and said excitedly. Zhang Yi's eyes immediately flashed with a gleam of brilliance. Big Totoro,